Craig, for some reason, you were the first person I thought of when I read this Harry Maguire tweet that was sent out saying, as a group of players, we're going through a tough period. We know and accept this is nowhere near good enough. We feel your frustration and disappointment. We're doing everything we can to put things right, and we will put things right. Thank you for your support. Why did I think of you, Craig, when I saw that?
I don't know. Blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, what, just who cares? Who cares? Look, the performance was, this is just a bunch of excuse makers now. It's hollow rhetoric. But look, the performance, I actually read some today, Dan, just a little side note on some of the stats that were flying around was, it was reported in one of the papers via Opta that United had only 4 touches, and I thought this was amazing. United had only 4 touches in the opposition penalty box in the whole of the game. That's the lowest that Manchester United have ever had in the Premier League era since Opta started compiling the stats.
Wow.
I mean, 4 touches in the... I think that sums it up. I mean, this side were... Not only are they inept, but they were frightened. They were frightened to play. They were unable to play. They were unable to change it. I mean, Shaq and I were on Friday and we talked about the concern we would have if they played a back 3 and how City could stretch that, and they did. Became a back 5. And yet it took him to half-time, Solskjaer, before he even did anything about it. He sat talking to Michael Carrick. What the hell were they talking about? The whole thing was just so inept. It was scary. But on the flip side, and I think this has been a bit lost, Manchester City were absolutely sublime.
Yeah, they were excellent. The build-up for that second goal was just something to behold. But obviously, Ian, inevitably the focus falls once again on Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We're hearing reports in the UK, aren't we, that the Glazers are in absolutely no rush to make any change whatsoever. And what's striking by that is you think, well, after that Liverpool defeat and the way and the manner in which they lost against Manchester City, what will it take?
Well, it was an embarrassing defeat. They were embarrassed against Liverpool. This, I think, was just as bad, really, because they couldn't lay a glove on Manchester City, who just outplayed them from beginning to end. They do look an undercoached side, and I think getting to the nub of the argument now, it's on the training ground that they are not correcting the errors. The team are just not working hard enough without the ball. They didn't work hard. Fernandes was lounging around, really, when that cross came in for the first own goal, and then it was a mountain to climb after that. They were nowhere near City, and I do think, and I don't like to say it really because it is like shooting Bambi, but I do think that if they want to progress, they will have to change the manager.
Even if they do, Craig, given what we've seen from the players and their performances so far this season, is there enough quality within this side to get to the level at which you think they should be at?
Well, they've got to be better than what they are, and I think that's a starting point. But listen, this is a club that have sat in their hands and they've talked about there's nobody out there. They keep saying that. There's nobody out there. But there was, because there was Max Allegri was out there, and okay, Juventus are struggling a little bit, but he was an experienced manager. Pochettino was out there. Antonio Conte was out there. And guess what? They've all got jobs. These players are underperforming. There's no doubt they haven't got the depth of quality that certainly Man City have. But they've got way better players than they have. This is a team that finished second last year, and they've got worse. They've got worse when they've signed Ronaldo. They've got worse when they've signed Sancho, who's been, anonymous. And they've got worse when they signed Varane. So, yeah, as Ian said, it's partly the players, but the biggest part of it is the coaching scenario, or lack of it. I don't know about you guys. Did anybody see, and I know there was more than one, but there was one striking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer interview at the end of the game, and I think it just summed it up. He couldn't speak. He couldn't find any words. He was startled. He said, we didn't pass it. We didn't find our angles. We couldn't do that. He had no answers. He couldn't even come up with any BS just to buy himself a bit of time. He didn't even know how to do that. He had nothing. The interview I saw, he had nothing. He had nothing to give. He had nothing to come back with. He had no counter-argument. He had no counter-debate. He had nothing. And I think at the bottom line is, for me, that's what Man United are at the moment. They are nothing. And the way City passed it and moved, and De Bruyne has been struggling, right? And people have noted that. But the positions that he found and he took up, the way they passed it, the way they interchanged, the way they pressed the ball, the way they won it, but everything just smacked of what they work on in training. And everything that United didn't do just smacked of what that desperation is. And we talked about, people have talked about sacking Solskjaer and whatnot. Listen, Aston Villa sacked a manager in Dean Smith, who actually I thought had done a very good job, right? Dean Smith had lost 5 in a row. It'd been a downward spiral, right? But Dean Smith took his Aston Villa side to Man United, and they're just another side that have beat them this year, and yet he's out of job. I mean, United are a desperate bunch of people who cannot make decisions. That's the bottom line.
To pick up on Ian's Bambi analogy, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a little bit like a deer in headlights at the moment.
Yes.
And that was epitomised, as Craig said, by that striking post-match interview, and that has got to resonate through the whole of that dressing room.
Of course it does. And I think, to your previous question, the easiest cop-out we can level at Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is that it's the players and nobody can get any more, or you bring in another manager, they're not going to get any more out of these players because the players simply have been that bad. 12 months ago, Chelsea were just as bad as Manchester United are right now. Yet they finished last season as European champions after changing manager. Roll the clock back a couple years. Antonio Conte comes into a Chelsea team. Now, if I offered you Victor Moses or Jadon Sancho as the right-sided midfielder of a team that would win the Premier League, every single person would take Jadon Sancho. Yet a good coach comes in, takes that squad of players, a squad who you might be able to argue were lesser than this Manchester United team, probably apart from Eden Hazard at the time, and Antonio Conte turned them into Premier League champions. So for United fans or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer apologists to sit on their hands and say nobody coming in will get more out of these players is just an absolute lie and a denial of the truth. Now, the Glazers are happy because they continue to make money. Nobody's rocking the boat. If that's what they want, fine. But until somebody does, whether it's Cristiano Ronaldo or whether you take some kind of notice of the United fans singing Van der Beek's name and City fans singing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's name, you're going to be stuck with this week in, week out.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.